What's up, y'all? Welcome to the PSH podcast where casual gamers come talk about not so casual topics. This is your homie Jolly Dangerous. You can call me Jolly D or just plain old Jolly. This is podcast 11. We're here with Ryzoe.
What it do, player pimps and pimpettes?
And Denonu.
What's good?
I almost messed like the whole thing up at the beginning, and then I said your names in two different spots they weren't supposed to be in, and I'm messed up right now. I'm on like 4 different kinds of medication. First topic. We got butt silicone injection enlargement injections. Chick died. Oh my god.
She died of a big booty.
Yeah, that's what it was.
She died trying to get booty implants. And then,
thank you.
Of course, from the unlicensed doctor. Which means her booty. Like, I hear that when you get operations from a unlicensed doctor, they tape your booty up with either super glue or scotch tape. So that already should tell you that you are probably not in a safe predicament. Like,
I'm just saying, she was like in their basement laying on a table. I'm just saying, that's not...
Yeah. Like, that ain't. If you want to actually look good and live, you should probably go to a professional, not some underground doctor where homeboy's got to yell for his mom to bring down the scissors to cut the tape for your booty.
So Kelly Matthew, a beautiful 34-year-old woman from Suitland, Maryland, with a prior history of successful and legal cosmetic surgeries designed to improve the appearance of her derriere, died in the basement of a private residence in Queens, New York after receiving liquid silicone butt injections from an unlicensed practitioner on Saturday. She actually worked at BET.
Did she?
Yeah, she was a BET employee. I think she was like a producer or something like that. Let me see.
Platform producer.
There you go, platform producer.
So this means she actually was close to having more money, but decided to go on the cheap. And paid dearly for it. Paid with her life.
Well, see, here's the thing. Like, she's already had, like, other surgeries to help her posterior supportus molding.
Yeah, but still, like, why would you go for the cheap? Like, you have
probably because
money.
the other operations could put her in debt.
Well, now she in debt, for real, in debt.
Like,
I'm just gonna throw in a joke here. You know how like in most sci-fi RPGs, when you try to get like cybernetic implants and they be like, no, your endurance is not high enough. She should have leveled up her endurance more before she got this surgery, man.
Should have leveled up just a little bit more.
I don't know. I'm thinking like, what's the reason for anybody getting surgery that would improve their looks or like their ass or breasts? Like, you know, looks, maybe I can understand it. Like, what if, you know, if you were like a house fire and you became disfigured or something like that, then yeah, plastic surgery is the way to go if, you know, you think you need that. But, you know, making your butt bigger or your,
it's insecurities. I mean, she wasn't comfortable with how she looked, and some people just have issues where they always think that they should look better rather than being comfortable with who they are.
Yeah. She didn't look like any other Kardashians or any other Jenners, so she wanted to, you know, try to look that way.
I think it's BET's fault. I really do. I mean, they're on here, they like, you know, we're saddened by the death of our colleague and friend and all this other shit. I think it's their fault. If they did not advertise the bullshit they put on TV, talking about ass, titties, fucking music video chicks, she probably has to watch all these girls who are followed by these guys walk around all day, and she didn't have a butt like that. It made her have to go get one.
If I may interject here, I do no longer blame, like, fucking society on people making dumb decisions. Granted, society is all about the physical. It's all about the physical look, the physical appearance, and, you know, you gotta have nice ass and titties and lips, apparently these days, to get a man, which is not fucking true, right?
No,
so
men are simple.
These people are pretty much following, like, the basic media tips on how to get a man when no man really fucking cares. This is like telling a girl, hey, or it's like telling a guy, hey, in order to get a girl, you have to be buff. and in shape and work out all the time. Name me the last guy who has gone completely out of his way to work out for a chick. You can't name one off the top of your head.
Nah, I really can't.
You really can't. Like, it's really just girls just giving into this idea, like they have to look a certain way to find a man when we don't care. And so this shit happens where they're gonna be like, oh, I need a booty because BET told me I need a booty, so I'm gonna go get a booty. And you know what? I'm not gonna live because of this booty. Like, what can you argue against that with?
I have to interject there, buddy. See, I don't blame society. I blame fucking BET. Like black exploitation television. Why? I blame they asses. Because, okay, no, wait. All right, and here's the other thing. Here's the other thing I interject. Those pills are really starting to kick in right now. Here's the other thing I interject. Is because you say that men don't care about that shit. No, real men do not care about that shit. What do we have now, though? We don't have a lot of real men out there. We have guys who are looking at BT and they think those are the kind of chicks that these rappers are getting. These are the kind of chicks that I should be getting. So I want a chick with a big ass and big titties. All you hear in rap, that's all you hear. I want the chick with the big ass, the slim waist, you know, pretty face, all that bullshit. You hear that 100 times on fucking rap, right? So this chick right here works in BET, sees all this shit goes around all the time, probably didn't get talked to that much because there's too much competition, so she just had to compete some kind of way.
I don't know. I just think she liked the attention that kind of stuff garnered, because that's what happened. I mean, that's what most people do. I mean, if they're getting attention and it's positive attention, of course they're going to want to keep it up. So.
But see, that makes sense. It's not just BET. It's society that feels like it has to keep this fucking, hey, guys, your physical appearance is all that's going to get you a man. These days, like, even, I mean, I know it's not just me, but I'm getting to the point now where I see a hot chick, and it's just like, bitch, you better have a personality. That's like the only thing I can think about coming out of a hot chick now. Yeah, she's sexy, and yeah, I'm totally gonna like masturbate to that shit maybe later on, but like, like unless you have a personality, I'm not fucking talking to you, because I would rather have a chick that I can fuck around with and have good conversation with and have fun with, who doesn't necessarily need me around her 24/7 to have fun. She's got a girlfriend, she's got a life, she can go do shit without me. I have my boys, I've got my life, I can go do shit without her. This is exactly what I would love out of a relationship. These days, it's all this like physical appearance bullshit, and it's stupid, and you just looking at another victim who fell for it because she's too stupid not to think on her own.
That is true. That is true.
Well,
there's probably a bunch of millions of other women who think that way. Hell, look at Kanye's West mom. Didn't she die of the same thing, but with titties?
She died of some kind of plastic surgery. They didn't say what kind. But yeah, she passed away because, yeah, homeboy was a quack. At the same time, I don't know why you would risk your life to inject shit into your body just for looks, but hey, people do it. Plus, that is California, man. Like, you know, it's all about looks over there.
Yeah, but still, like, you have a bunch of underground people who can be like, yeah, nah, we can totally give every dude, like, an 8-inch dick right now with this shot. But, like, only underground people had this shit. Look, just look around how many niggas is actually gonna go. It ain't gonna be a lot of them. It ain't gonna be a lot of motherfuckers who gonna go to that shit. Because we don't
no needles anywhere near my junk.
Yeah, no, I'd rather have my junk and my life than nothing at all.
See, here's my thing. Is like, what makes this okay when they say, okay, just go down to the basement? What? Why?
That should have been warning sign number one.
Because it's, you know, she went to like an illegal doctor, so of course he didn't have the right setup for that shit.
But I mean, it's like, you should know common sense tells you don't let some random motherfucker inject you. Like, especially if you go into a basement. Going into a basement leads up into a ice chest full of, like, a tub full of ice and, like, you know, organs missing out of your body. That's what that leads to.
If I may, we need to officially, as of this moment, retitle Common Sense, because it's not fucking comic anymore. Basic sense would probably be a good name for it because common sense isn't applied no more. It's no
People
longer
need to have
common sense.
uncommon sense. That's what they need.
People need to have basic sense, like to make sense of the situation before your eyes and real like, oh shit, I'm about to go down into this nigga's basement that literally has like nothing's probably sterilized. Everything's probably everywhere. There's probably still like, you know, a cut up fetus in the trash can from the illegal abortion this nigga did like 2 hours ago. Shit like that. Like, if you go to a motherfucker like that, you need to check yourself.
I bet the basement look like that scene in Saw.
Most likely. Most fucking likely.
Fucking medical room with just blood everywhere. Anyway, so next topic. Let's get off of this dumb shit. Talk about more dumb shit. Pentagon accidentally shipped live anthrax to Canada and Australia in addition to the U.S. The United States government, our government, is sending out free anthrax for the taking. Take that shit.
Well, I mean,
and mail it right back.
From what I read about this, they were supposed to send out dead anthrax samples, which is, you know, anthrax that's pretty much lost its potency, and they can just send it out for study and blah, 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 whatever, even though we pretty much already know what the anthrax does. But they sent out live samples instead of the dead samples, and now apparently there was anthrax out there going to certain people. Just live anthrax, ready to kill somebody.
At the same time, like, I don't really see how this became a real headline, because it was sent to, like, medical labs. It's like,
yeah.
They make it seem like they sent that shit to, like, random people's homes and shit. Just, like, you know, took down the social security numbers and just randomly drew one of them and just said, hey, let's send this person anthrax.
I mean, this is just the media trying to get their claws on something that they can make the fucking public panic about. Like, you remember Ebola? Let's talk about how we were so scared
of Ebola. You mean the
stuff
stuff that wasn't here?
The stuff that just fucking was here and then disappeared.
Just fucking
Apparently we had Ebola in Texas. Did you know that?
Really? No.
Yeah, apparently it was in Dallas for a little bit.
Get out of here.
Oh, yeah. It was like, oh, shit. Like, cause me and a friend had a conversation about how he was so scared of Ebola that he was like, oh, we should just totally nuke Dallas. And I was like, okay.
Wow, really? You nuke an American city?
He wanted to nuke Dallas because of, like, one case of Ebola that was reported there.
Sir, I'm going to tell you right now, maybe you should reevaluate who you have on your friends list. Because if he wants to kill an entire population of people in a city over a disease that's not even here yet, what do you think he's going to do to your ass if something like that threatens him?
Oh, trust me, me and this nigga don't get along as it is.
Oh, okay, because if he got the flu, I'm surprised that he's just like, oh no, we got to burn that nigga at the stake. I'm not getting
put him
sick.
Down now.
You know what I mean?
This nigga goofy stupid anyway. Like, ain't nobody gonna listen to this motherfucker. This motherfucker thinks he's like some genocidal like maniac, and he's not. He's just some I want to be cool bad boy. So he likes to pronounce himself as like, oh, I would totally nuke a city for the case of one fucking case. But it was like, you know, if it was one of those things where it's like, you kind of have to cut off your pinky toe because it's infected, he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't fucking do it. He a bitch. Get him out of here.
Okay. Well, yeah, alright, so I really don't really know what to say about this whole like little topic right here. It's just
I think it's messed up because it's the government, man. They should be the ones that should be on top of things like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird that they did make the mistake of sending out live anthrax, but at the same time, I could see how, you know, a couple of scientists were a little bit careless, maybe, you know, puffing some weed on the job, not really giving a shit. And I was like, oh, hey, is this the live anthrax or the dead anthrax? Did we label it? No. Fuck it, it's the dead anthrax.
This would be a whole lot bigger if somebody would have died from it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But wait a minute. I saw a Facebook post, like going back to the Ebola thing. I saw a Facebook post, and it was like a monkey, and it was like, you remember when they said something about Ebola, and then it just vanished? It kind of makes you think about what they tried to distract you from.
Yeah.
Like, it really did seem like that the whole Ebola thing was like a big distraction from something else that was going on. So I looked it up, and there was like no elections going on at the time. Nobody, like, no other race or anything like that was, you know, happening, but I could not see why this whole Ebola thing just went away so quick.
I don't
I
know.
just think somebody did their job in the government and blacklisted all that shit.
What tripped me out about the whole thing? What tripped me out about the whole Ebola thing was the fact that, like, we were over here losing our goddamn minds about Ebola. Like, we were going fucking apeshit about Ebola. Meanwhile, Africa, where they're actually having Ebola problems, we're kind of like, it's here. We gotta kill it. Like, the people who have it either gonna die or live. But
they deal with this shit all the time, though. You know what I mean? Like, they have no... I'm pretty sure a lot of them are upset about that, but I mean, over there, it's like commonplace for that shit to happen. It's just they got to be careful. Over here, it's not so common, so people freak the fuck out over here. I didn't really give a shit. I'm like, well, you know,
me either.
I really don't hang around nobody anyway that really, you know, comes in contact with motherfuckers that got Ebola anyway, so even if I do get it, I guess, you know, the doctor's gonna cure the shit if you don't, you know what I'm saying? But the way people freaked about it was like, oh my, it was like the end of the world or some shit.
Oh, yeah, there was people stocking up on water and shit around Texas.
Yeah, I think it's more just the fact that it was just a lot of dumb people who probably didn't know what Ebola was, but just knew it by name.
It's the same thing. Like, you can tell, like, I could put up a Facebook status right now that was like, oh dear God, there's like 15 cases of blah 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 good attacking people. And like most people are gonna flip the fuck out. Oh my God, have you heard about this obligabla that's going around, right? And it's gonna be like 1-2 niggas who will look it up and be like, this shit ain't real. But everybody else,
that is true.
Everybody else is gonna be like, oh dear God, the obligabla is gonna kill us.
They're the comments, bitch. This is not real. This is literally a bundle of fucking syllables that he put together. It is not real. Like, no,
and then you
lying.
got the people who will see that and then just go past it and write something else because they don't read it.
Nah, man, my uncle died of that shit. Now, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what?
I lost like half my family from that shit because I literally just made this up 10 minutes ago. Like,
just because you made it up don't make it not true. Like this, I remember this one chick. She was in Facebook and she said something about like Ebola, right? She actually thought that it was Idris Elba and told this motherfucker to go back to his own country.
Wow.
Talking about that nigga needs to leave and go back to where he came from. And people was like, bitch, that's Idris Elba, not Ebola. That two different things. One's a person, one's a fucking virus. Like, it was hilarious.
It's real fucking much.
People are stupid, man.
Man, see, this is why.
You know what? We need Ebola over here to help sterilize and kill off those dumb motherfuckers. That's what we need. I'm just gonna come out and say it. All right?
Gotta thin the herd a little bit.
At this point, I'm really nervous about the second coming. I really am, because I'm not sure how Jesus is gonna react. He gonna get here and be like,
y'all ain't worth it no more.
Do I have to take these people up? Do I really have to?
Oh man,
stupid, bro. People have gotten fucking pathetically stupid.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. So apparently the feds can charge you with obstruction of justice for cleaning out your web browser. Just pressing the button on your web browser to clean the history, they can charge you if any of that information could have been linked to a case. Now, let's say federal government, right, finds you where you were talking to a person that actually committed a crime. If by chance you just so happen to clean out your web browser history at any point in time, even in the past, they can potentially charge you with obstruction of justice, saying that you have tampered with evidence, destroyed evidence, and all this other good shit. And you can potentially end up in jail for 20 years. This happened with a case, multiple cases actually. The one of the cases that just recently happened was a cabbie was at dinner, had dinner with like the two Boston bombers, had dinner with them, And, you know, like before that shit happened, he cleaned his web browser when he got home, and then the federal government found out that, like, he lied on his, like, police report and shit. Came to him, saw that he cleaned out his web browser, and then charged him with some rule that they put in place, like, years ago. And this happened multiple times since then, since now, from 2014 to all the way back to 2010.
See, like, I agree with it, and I don't agree with it at the same time. Right? Because while they kind of can give you the same thing in real life, where they'll, like, you know, getting rid of information that might be vital to a case, I still say just because it's your personal web history that it might just be slightly invasion of privacy-ish. But I don't know.
Yeah, it probably would, because how would the government even know you have something like that?
Well,
yeah,
I mean, because when you get charged with anything where you have to go into a case, they have the right to seize anything that they think may, you know, be valuable for that case.
Yeah, that is true. But what I'm saying is, how would they know you have that information? Like, if you weren't the one that was directly charged, let's say, like, if you were charged because you blew up something down there in Texas, and then, like, okay, well, how do they know I have some information on you? Why would they even come in my direction, even look?
Well, if they found out that we used to hang out or be friends or even had conversations before, they talk to everybody.
Okay, so what about
wouldn't they just seize your stuff, though?
That's true, yeah. but like, what if like I had an accomplice? You know what I mean? Like, maybe you didn't give me, like, if you didn't help me do it, maybe you gave me plans to do it or plans to make a certain device or anything like that. You know, maybe I could have got instructions from somebody else that told me to go do it.
Now, my question on this is, what about the people who, because at work I have it set where, like, it automatically deletes, like, my web browser history as soon as I close the window. And it's just the way it is, just because it's work. And I might have been on YouTube once or twice, and I don't want nobody fucking knowing that shit. So,
or Chatterbait, or Pornhub, or any of those other places.
Or World Star Hip Hop. No, I don't look at porn at work. The worst thing I do is World Star Hip Hop, which sometimes has porn on it, and I've done that. But, but the point is, I have it where it just automatically deletes my web history as soon as I get off, right? So, like, if you have had it to that setting for an extended period of time, and they come in and be like, oh shit, now your web history, like, how does that come into it?
Yeah, how are they going to know? That's the whole thing.
Here's the thing. They could still potentially do that, but since, like, when they wrote the rule, this is like section 802, the intent isn't there. Like, you don't know what kind of intent it was, like, behind the whole deleting of the web browser history. Now, if the intent was to conceal or hide information, then they can feel like that you had that intent, and they can charge you. But if that intent wasn't there, it's more like of the discretion of, like, jurors and shit.
See, well, that's stupid already, because most of the time, 9 out of 10, niggas is going to already have the intent to hide whatever porn site they were looking at the night before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's running into stupid now.
Well, I mean, that's what you got.
I think this is going to be one of those laws where it's like, you can't really, that's not something they can really enforce all that much.
I think sooner or later.
They've done it a few times. I don't think they can enforce it to everybody.
No, you can't. I mean, unless they already know you have something, and then let's say, like, they're on their way to your house and they know that you have something, and you know that they're investigating you, and you go home and then try to delete something, that's a little bit different. But just having communications with somebody and then you just clean out your history and they're just going to give you 20 years for what? It's not solving anything. It's just wasting time and money.
I think it's more so because you have to do something fucked up first, like lie to the police or something like that.
Yeah, like if you just
you're hiding something.
Like if that cabbie came out and be like, yeah, you can seize my computer, go ahead. And they came in there, searched it, and just found that he deleted some history or whatever and didn't find nothing else, they probably wouldn't have cared. Yeah. But like you said, I mean, if he lied to the police, so of course they're gonna jump down his throat about that shit.
Yeah.
See, I feel like this case is like just like every other like major fucking law that's stupid out there. One day they're gonna have a case where some hard ass is gonna come and beat the shit, and then they're gonna have to get rid of it because 9 times out of 10 that shit happens a lot. Where there's always like a dumb law, some motherfucker who knows this shit winds up wrapped up in that. It's like, no, you ain't gonna get me on this because of this, and this. And they're like, oh, well, you're right. And then, of course, they got to get rid of it. So I think something like that's going to happen to this one day. Especially how, I was going to say how smart the nerd can be, but we don't really have smart nerds anymore. So when they find a dude who can fight this, they'll have an issue whenever that day comes.
Yeah. Plus there's too much software and too many web browsers out there that let you browse the net semi-anonymously when it comes to tracking web pages and stuff like that. So what about everybody who, let's say, uses the internet with one of those? Would you give all of them 20 years? I mean, it seems kind of pointless at that point.
Yeah, you got a lot of incognito search engines and website or browsers now. So
especially with your computer, you can actually set it to clean itself after so long.
Yeah, don't keep a history. What about those people?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those things that we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. But it seems more and more like the world didn't realize how big the internet was gonna be, so never put laws in place to actually think about like shit like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're just gonna have to revise them. I mean, it's like a bunch of those internet laws where everything is kind of vague, kind of like copyright. Well, you can do this, but not this or this. There's tons of things out there when it comes to the internet and media where it's just completely vague as far as law goes because, nobody never had the internet before. All the other major laws that we have been around for like hundreds of years. Where internet is something new. They haven't, drawn boundaries where the law ends and the internet supersedes. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, final thoughts on this one?
It's stupid. But can it? I don't know. I guess depending on certain cases, it can be stupid. It can be smart. Whatever. That's how I feel. Because I feel like if a person does destroy evidence, they can totally be charged for it. Especially if they have like a straight up chat to this dude about the shit that was going down. Then totally, yeah. But I don't feel like just because you so happen to be in the same chat room as a motherfucker who committed the crime. Yeah. That if you deleted that history, because I feel like they would also kind of press some charges like that on person like you, just because both of you niggas was on fucking 4chan at the same time.
Yeah, that's
and
stupid.
You deleted that history, you can totally go to jail for it.
I mean, that's what happens when 4 black guys in the car. Yeah, one pulls out a joint, everybody going to jail. That ain't my joint. I didn't smoke it.
Yeah,
but because I was around the niggas that did it, I gotta go too.
Yeah,
that's true. But that'll change as people get older.
Yeah.
I mean, that happened more and more back in the day, but as like our generation becomes the older generation, all that bigotry bullshit will stop anyway.
That shit ain't dying out fast enough for me.
Nah, me either.
It's really not. All right, so next topic, memories emerge intact from cryogenic resurrection machine. I don't know why they call it that. Long ass fucking name.
Super ass, long ass fucking report and shit.
You know what I mean? Like, all right, so Denonu, you want to talk about this? Did you read the whole thing?
I read part of it. This is where they, what was it, worms or frogs or something?
Fucking worms.
Yeah.
They took worms and I don't know how they could tell they had memories, but they basically took worms and cryogenically froze them and then brought them out of the, unfroze them. And then, normally when we do that, we're trying to master the whole cryogenic technology, like you see in sci-fi where you can freeze somebody and then bring them out 100 years later and be fine. Well, most of the time when they do that, you just end up dying. So they're trying to figure out how all that stuff works. Well, supposedly they froze some worms, unfroze them, and they could somehow tell that they still had memories from when they were first frozen. So
they trained they trained the worms in a dirt box, and every time they would put a certain scent into the box, like I think it was like almond scents or something like that, they trained the worms to go to a particular spot in the box, like it may be like left corner of the box or whatever. Every time they smelled this, they would have to go there. And after they made sure that all these worms had the facts down to go there, they would freeze them in 2 different manners. Like one manner was like, I think just putting them in there without any solution inside of them, just putting them inside the machine, and it would freeze them, but sometimes crystals would form and they would end up dying after they thaw out. The other method,
that's what happens.
The other method they found was using some kind of cryogenic liquid that they would inject into the worm that would freeze them all at one time. So it would be like the inside and outside, but it would freeze them so quick that the crystals wouldn't have time to form. So when they thaw out fast. Kind of like flash freezing peas, you know what I mean? Like they're not broken or tore up on the inside. So when the worms come out, 80% of them would live, and they would put the scent back in the box and see what happens. And the worms actually managed to get, to the corner with the way they were supposed to. Even some of the worms that actually survived the other process with the night injections was able to go and, do the same thing. They're talking about the human part, but they're saying that the only thing that they are trying to get around right now is giving you the liquid inside of your body, because they would have to actually siphon out all of your blood and replace it with this liquid. So it's almost like embalming fluid. You take the blood out, put the embalming fluid in. You would have to do the same thing with this liquid and somehow still keep you alive long enough to, flash freeze your body. And then when you wake up, get the stuff out of your system and then the blood back in your system. So they have to work that kind of stuff out right now. I don't want to fuck with it. I don't think I would ever want to fuck with that.
That's actually really fascinating. Like the fact that we've come that far. Now I'm not ever saying that I would fucking flash freeze myself and get blood taken out of my body and then all that shit. But I do like the progress we have made in cryogenic freezing. Like, of course, everything that we've seen in sci-fi movies have been the influence for just about everything that we have these days. Mm-hmm. So things like cryogenic freezing and shit like this, I believe can happen one day. I believe they'll find a safer method for it, and I believe niggas will be able to live a very long time, more than we do now.
That would be an answer to all of our space travel problems.
Yeah, it really would. One thing that's cool is I think the only time I can see myself even like putting myself into a situation like that is, we've gotten to the age now where they said they could pretty much make DNA and put it on a flash drive, and
I heard about that.
have your memories and shit on a USB and shit like that. And so the only thing I would do that is like if they guarantee like, hey, in like 8 years we can take your subconscious and put it on a computer. I would definitely if I was about to die, I would definitely all right, freeze me so I can have my subconscious on a computer in 8 years. But that's the only time I would ever fucking do that shit. But it's really cool. I find it fascinating. I find this really, really cool and hope it makes more progress.
Yeah. I imagine that this is going to be one of those moments where one day some pizza guy is going to deliver pizza, trip and fall into one of these cryogenic things, wake up 3,000 years into the future, and the world is going to be fucking destroyed, and that's it. Like, there's not going to be a fucking Futurama planet.
Are you sure? Are you sure he's not going to work for a delivery service with a one-eyed woman and a crab? I'm
pretty sure he won't. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. What about an old dude who's like 150 years old?
If he does, I think all the whole race are going to be like gray colored, like on South Park. They're all going to be gray and speak like a weird fucking language.
Or what? Like all of our skin tones are just going to blend together and into like some weird mulatto-ish color.
Yeah, everybody's going to be just fucking.
There you go. Everybody's just going to be fucking.
Well, yeah. There you go. Yeah. Everybody's going to be almond colored. Like, so this kind of color right here. That's everybody's color right there.
Did you see? It came out a long time ago, but it was this gallery of what they believe America would look like in like a century. Like the citizens of America would look like in like a century.
Would they look stupid?
It's pretty much, and I bullshit you not. It's pretty much like yellow-boned, curly hair.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Like everybody's gonna be pretty much like the same color, like white, black mixed, and curly hair.
I would think so. Yeah, I see that now. Like that's everywhere.
Yeah,
that's everywhere, dude. Like everywhere.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's gonna be something. Like everybody's gonna be like fucking pretty with like fucking hazel eyes and just you know what I mean? Everybody's gonna look good for some reason. Alright.
Yeah, but then that's gonna be the look that everybody don't want because then by then it won't be good.
Well, you know, they'll
that might be average.
That's when finally the Dark Brothers is gonna be like really hot.
That one motherfucker that lives in the middle of nowhere.
I know,
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, we have Wesley Snipes like fucking like grandchild or something, like super descendant out of the middle of nowhere. He's just getting all the bitches.
His only thing in this world is to reproduce the black color.
Yes.
Back into the world. Man. I was thinking about something, but I forgot what it was. Shit. So last thoughts about the whole cryogenics thing. Cryotech. Where is that from?
Cryotech? It's from a video game.
I don't
remember which one.
Yeah, video game. That's the company. That's the developers in it.
Yeah. I think it's development for it.
Yeah. Cryotech.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Last thoughts about this contraption of future bullshit.
I think it's one step closer, man. One step closer to science fiction.
Next thing you know, we're gonna be sending niggas back to the past and fucking like Mercury fucking like robotics and shit to go kill Sarah Connor.
Oh. I thought you was gonna say something like, you know, back to the past in a samurai gi with a sword, you know, fighting.
Technically, he got sense of the future.
Shadow demons. I know, but the fuck, like, here's the thing. Oh, never mind. Because it fits because the theme song was like back to the past, and he's trying to get back to the past. Never mind. I fucked that up. So don't even worry about samurais in the past going, like, in the future going to the past, because that don't make no sense.
Fail.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, why did they cancel that show though? Samurai Jack was the shit.
Because
I don't understand why they canceled it, considering like Homeboy made Pop-Up Girls in Dexter's Laboratory, and I'm pretty sure he had enough money to keep Samurai Jack going.
It was Cartoon Network.
It was like they wanted to stop it.
It was Cartoon Network. I'm pretty sure it wasn't Samurai Jack because that thing had such a following that you wouldn't believe. Just like Young Justice had such a following that you wouldn't believe, yet they canceled that too. And they canceled Invader Zim. Invader Zim was real popular.
Nickelodeon's the one who canceled Invader Zim.
I know that. That's what I'm talking about. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, other companies that canceled great shows.
Yeah.
I'm like, my thing is like, why didn't you cancel Power Rangers or shit like that? You know what I mean?
Or the dumbass shit that they have on TV.
Here's the thing. Like, I don't know. And the thing about that is, like, between fucking Samurai Jack, Dexter's Laboratory, Powerpuff Girls, Courage the Cowardly Dog, and all the other things Cartoon Network had at that time, I don't know what show I would have wanted canceled, but it certainly would have been It wouldn't have been Samurai Jack.
I would have rather them cancel Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I love Courage the Cowardly.
I mean, it was nice, but like
it was like rehashing the same thing every episode.
Yeah, it was rehashing the same thing every episode.
It was like he was always had to fight some weird monster that was going after like the old lady or the guy, and they never saw it.
But for me, it was a modern day Scooby-Doo, which is why I fucking loved it. Except, you know, without a stoner and a chick getting constantly banged in every episode. But
but the problem is that you only had 3 characters. You know what I mean? You had 3 characters that you saw over and over again, and they always said the same shit. He didn't like the dog. The grandma loved the dog. You know, and they kind of like the 2 old people kind of like was in love and not really. You know, and then there's always a monster that shows up to destroy everything, and he has to get rid of him. Every fucking episode.
This is true. Touche. It would have encouraged the Cowardly Dog.
Moving on, Steam will now refund you for games that you don't like.
Yes! It's about fucking time. You know how long niggas been waiting for Steam to give refunds, nigga? You know how many motherfucking times niggas waste hundreds and hundreds of dollars on the Steam sales and figure out they don't like half the goddamn game they got for $3?
Here's my question. Why
they shouldn't have bought it then.
Yeah. Why didn't you read the fucking review or play the demo?
Here's the thing. It's a Steam sale. I'm not sure if any of you have succumbed to the mighty. Like, I have. There was one summer where I did succumb to the fullest of the mighty Steam still, of which I bought every game, every day, while it was on sale. Like, that account became so fucking flooded that I had to delete that account and buy a new one because I literally just had fucking an entire library of games. I didn't even know how to get through it. So I had to go back, make a new Steam account. Now I have what I have today.
Well, first off, that's your fucking fault for spending that much money on games.
I'm saying, niggas do this is. I'm not the only person who has succumbed to the Steam sale. Right?
Oh no, it's like it is famous. Like, you know, they have already announced, you know, the current one that's coming out probably in the next couple weeks. But yeah,
the Steam sale is a fucking drug.
Like, the only thing that I really bought off of Steam, like, just went crazy for, was when they put GTA on there for like 87 cents. You know, I was like, you know what? I haven't played, you know, Cities and Liberty Stories and all this other shit, so let me go ahead and buy that. That was like $8 for Liberty Stories and all the other, like, what do you call the other ones?
Ballad of Gay
Tony, all that shit. You know, like, they just bundled it all together for $8. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'll take that. Everything else is like, you know what? I'm not going to play this shit if I see bad reviews on it. I see reviews on it. I see, you know, I see the demo. If I don't like the demo, I'm not gonna play it. I mean, you gotta give a company credit. You know, you don't have to buy the game at full price. You know, so buying it for like $6 and be like, oh, I don't like the game. Well, tough titty.
It's $6.
It's $6 damn dollars.
The only reason why I think this is really implemented is because of the Steam sale. This is the only reason, because there's a lot of people, there's tons and tons and tons of people who have Steam games in their account that they haven't played because they bought so much shit for the Steam sale. Because 9 times out of 10, your casual gamer or your intelligent gamer isn't going to buy a game he doesn't want to play just because it's on sale. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people out there who aren't going to bother doing the whole Steam refund thing because they don't have to. But there are people who have succumbed to the same shit I did, the drug of the Steam sale, who kind of got too much shit and kind of need a slight refund for it. And if I do get $6 back for the $6 game that I got, that's fine by me. Mm-hmm. That is fine by me.
Yeah, I think this is a good thing, but it's just like, to me, this is something that's like, where was this at when Steam first came out?
Yeah, like this is something that should have been here a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, like we're like, how long Steam's been out? What, 6-7 years, something like that. Like this should have been out like within 6 months of launching.
See, I don't think so, because this is like, okay, this whole refund thing also extends to DLC content. So all the little extra shit that you can put, like, add on to a game, if you don't like it, you can, you know, send it back. But it's more so for people not to play a game for an hour and beat the game, because most of those games are very beatable within like an hour and a half or something like that. You know, the small games, like even indie titles, you know, you can do this with. I see a whole bunch of people buying games and then just beating them in an hour and then just getting their money back and trying to beat the system, like cheat the system like that over and over again.
I feel like though for something like that, because Steam keeps track of the amount of time it takes for like the amount of game time that you have per game, right? And they also can tell by like the trophies you have if you've beaten this game or not. And they already said that, like, you know, if you have this amount of play time or this, they're not going to give you a refund. I forget what the second thing was. But I think, though, if you have, like, that trophy where it's like you have completed this game, then you should not get your refund back. Because you've obviously now, oh, hey, I beat it and I'm done with it.
You played and experienced the game.
Yeah, you played and experienced the game. You beat it. That's something that you should totally not get a refund back for. Like, you're already just trying to cheat the fucking system. You fucked up. It's over with. And because Steam keeps track of so much shit, I think they're going to have a real good control over what you can refund and what you can't refund.
I mean, going forward, they're going to probably revise this restriction list as far as what you can and cannot have. Going forward, I'm pretty sure they're going to adjust it as people get used to it and how people try to cheat it. They're going to make adjustments 6 months or maybe a year from now to fine-tune it as best they can so people can't cheat the system too. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're not stupid, so they know that people going to, try to cheat the system and, if given the opportunity.
Well, in saying that, they did say that if too many people do try to cheat the system, they said they can always take it away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. That's one thing I like about Gabe Newell. He's not afraid to put something out there and then take that shit back. Look what happened with the fucking mod thing. He put it out there, realized they fucked up, took it back. The charging for mods.
Oh, yeah.
Put it out there, tested it out. They realized they fucked up, admitted they fucked up, and took it away. And they completely owned up to it.
Well,
and they don't. I'm pretty sure they don't mind doing the same thing with the refund system. Put it out there, see how people treat it. If it don't fucking work, we'll take it awaway.
Well, the thing is, they'll probably put this out, see how people adjust to it, see if people like it or not, and then if they got to take it away, and let's say bring another kind of refund policy in. Change it up a little bit. They'll probably do it. They'll do it until they get it right.
At the same time, I don't think I would have, depending on how he had that mod thing set up, I don't know if I would have been okay with like them taking it away. Like if I'm a modder, right, and I put stuff out there for fun, for people to enjoy, and I see fucking 10,000 people just downloaded my mod for a certain game. If he had it in place where a modder can actually charge a little bit of money for extra fun value for a game, I don't see why the community would be so upset about that. Like anybody who puts in hours worth of work to mod a game, to add some kind of value to it, would kind of want to get some kind of compensation.
But that's the thing. I think the modders were the ones who were getting upset about it the most, not the fact that people bought it.
Here's what I got to argue with and against the modders for in that whole situation, because I've been involved in the modder community and shit like that. Well, the modders got really mad with the whole, pay for modding thing, not only because a person could take, like if I designed a flight mechanic, right?
Yeah.
And somebody else was like, oh, hey, I'm going to design some wings with this flight mechanic. And they sold their wings with my flight mechanic. And they got the entire bit of income for that mod. Then I'm mad. Because now this motherfucker took my shit and made his own, added some shit to it, and now is getting the full price for it. And I'm not getting shit out of it. And that was what's going on a lot with the whole thing. And they weren't monitoring their mods there. It's not like they had somebody on there who was testing out each and every mod. Because at one point, some dude charged, he was testing it out. He pretty much made a video that he was testing it out. Put a mod on there that he charged $8 and it wasn't shit. Literally, it did nothing to the game. And he was saying just how much he could get away with, right? Of course, he gave everybody their money back once the experimentation was over, but he pretty much proved that, hey, Steam really isn't, monitoring what these mods actually do, so they're not really going about it very well.
Okay,
right?
So that means anybody can just put on bullshit or even a virus on there, and you're ending up paying.
Yeah, but on the other side of the thing, there are, Nexus mod is really good about it, that, they have a bunch of people who put on mods on these websites like Nexus Mod and other mod sites where you can donate to the modder. However, they also are good, because I've seen a couple of them where they're also good about, hey, this is what this mod looks like and this is what it does, and they put up a lot of JPEGs. However, if you want the mod, you have to go to this page and actually buy the mod, because this modder kind of lives off of his mods. And there are a lot of people who fucking right. This motherfucker pretty much added another hours into the, other 1,000 hours into the game. Of course I'm going to pay fucking $10 for this mod. You know what I'm saying? So if a modder wanted to get paid for his mods in the modder community, he had no problem doing that. Steam wanted to come in and get kind of their chunk from being that middle guy, that easy middle guy, and it screwed them with it. So they didn't really do that much good, but they did make it slight. If they would have just worked on it a bit more, it was more easily accessible for people. Because usually when you got to pay for mods, you got to go to 2 or 3 different sites to really find where this modder is really charging for his mod. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
it would be a hell of a lot easier to do it right from Steam, since that's what everybody uses anyway.
Yeah. If you just use Steam Workshop to be okay, I want this mod, this mod, this mod. I know these mods work. I know these mods ain't bullshit. I know these mods don't have malware. But you really didn't know that with the way Steam was doing shit.
Well, final thoughts on the whole refund thing for games and DLC?
I think it's a good thing. I think they're going to, of course, figure out more guidelines. However, because I know the last thing I heard is you can't have more than an hour of gameplay on a game. But
I think it was like 2 hours or something like that.
Yeah, like an hour or 2 hours or something like that. But I think they're going to get it down where it's like, of course, if this is like an indie game, and the indie game, of course, is like an hour long, obviously there's no refund to it. I think they need to have it more so where, depending on how big the game is, like, I don't think indie games should give refunds, right? Like, I think if you go ahead and down like this $3 game, like, you shouldn't offer a refund for it because this game can be anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour long. So there's no way that should be able to offer a refund for it. But I think bigger games, the longer games, the more adventurous games, and games known for this, if they have, if you don't really like this game, then yeah, if it's like $40, $50, $60, yeah, you should totally get your refund for it.
Shoot, I think they should add this refund for like early access games.
Yeah, definitely.
And for all of those games who, like, let's say, like, will go on early access, people pay money to it, and then the developer just either stop making it or move on to something else and don't ever finish the damn game.
Yeah, no, that definitely should be a part of that, because that's been I think that's another reason why they've been doing it, because that shit has been happening a lot on Steam, where motherfuckers get their money and just fucking jet.
Yeah, but look at it like this. I mean, if you do get into like an early access game, you're gonna be playing more than 2 hours on that, so you're gonna go way past that whole time limit mark while the developer is still, developing the game. And if they just so happen to stop, how can you get your money back when you done already invested like 6 or 7 hours into this early access game?
Well, they would have to implement a different strategy where, let's say with early access, if the developer, when you put your game on Steam, and they be like, okay, you have 1 year to put out your game. If that game don't come out within a year of that date of your game first going up, then everybody who bought it gets that money back.
Yeah, that would make it so that they do finish those games.
Yeah, Steam is good about monitoring that. Like pretty much when you heard that those early access games didn't come through on their promises, like the first people you heard it from was Steam. Like, hey, we're kind of aware that this game got this much money, and all these people bought the beta, and now Homeboy doesn't seem to be releasing updates and shit. Like, we understand what's going on, and we're trying to work on what's going on, blah, 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 blah. So Steam is really aware of shit like that. So they could easily be like, oh, hey, it's been like fucking a year. This nigga ain't put up shit, so we clearing out his bank account. Any profit he got from this game is now going back to y'all.
Well, all right. So I guess that's final thoughts. You got anything to say, Denonu?
Nah, we pretty much said it.
All right, last topic is Fallout 4. Little teaser trailer that was announced last week. What y'all think about it?
First of all, if you're watching this podcast and you hadn't seen the teaser trailer, get from under the fucking rock and go watch the goddamn teaser trailer. Second of all,
damn.
For all the motherfuckers out there who talking about, oh shit, Fallout played it too safe with the graphics for this game, blah, 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 bitch, whine, shit, moan. It's because you already know fucking Bethesda has a habit. Like, Bethesda is never
making shitty graphical games?
Bethesda is never going to release a game with maximum graphics. They never are, and it's because they want their modder community to get involved. They do not they're going to put out, like, maybe like above decent, mediocre graphics out for their game. Like when you look at the Fallout game, you're like, yeah, that's a nice game. It's smooth. Everything's running smoothly, but it's not the best they can do. And it's because they want their modder community to be like, oh, hey, the dog, you can make the dog look as real as you possibly want to. Like, we're not going to run you out of a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not going to just screw over the modder community. They're going to release whatever they do and let the mods take over from there. Or the modders take over from there. That's what they have a habit of doing. So anybody who's bitching about this game don't know Bethesda.
Yeah, that's true. That's my whole thing with the game, because I know when I seen the trailer, I mean, I'm a huge Fallout fan. I've been playing it since, Fallout 1? Way back when. And I'm not overly pumped about the game, because it's like, okay, I already knew they were making it. But at the same time, I don't want them to just come out with, oh, here's Fallout 4, and have it just be a new Fallout game. I'm like, no, Fallout has a lot of flaws in how they make the game.
Yeah.
And how the game is. I'm like, yo, this is like 5 years later. I played The Witcher. My standard has improved.
Yeah.
So it's like improve that standard to make your game better. I don't know if they're going to do that just yet.
I know I've already seen somewhere that somebody was like, Witcher 3 is like the RPG the best RPG ever. So how is Fallout going to top this? And you already know that like Bethesda is going to kind of look towards like CD Projekt. Like if they do wind up pushing back Fallout 4, it's because they're going to look to CD Projekt Red and be like, okay, how do they do this? How do they do this? How do they implement this? How do they change this? You know, what makes their game so great, and how can we put that in our game? You know?
Yeah.
That's
it's
the
not
only
that
reason.
they didn't do anything better in The Witcher 3. It's just that Fallout, it's kind of like The Witcher 3 is like that Lamborghini, that badass car that might have a couple things wrong with it. Whereas Fallout is like that old average car, but it runs very, very decent. You know, it's like they need to take that car. They have a good framework. They just need to fine tune and polish and tweak their experience to make it better, and add in tons more detail.
What, like, honestly, I never got to play New Vegas. Like, I played pretty much every Fallout except for New Vegas. Never got to really play New Vegas. But I remember Fallout 3 being really, really dark in some parts. I'm not sure, did New Vegas ever get, like, really dark like Fallout 3 did?
Certain points.
Like, at certain points? Like,
New Vegas, I think, was made by different people.
Okay.
Because I think it was made by a few people that worked on, I want to say, like, Fallout 2 and a few of the older ones from back in the day. So it had a different feel than, let's say, Fallout 3 did. But same theme, different game. Yeah. They added tons of different stuff like factions and cause and effect and stuff like that. Like if you was a slave trader and worked with the slavers, then everybody else didn't like you.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I know they had that in the older Fallout games too.
Like they need to bring back the old factions. They need, of course, like the one thing that disappointed me in Fallout 3 that I never really got to. I kind of really didn't get the point of it was the like if you were too renegade, those sheriffs or whatever would come after you. Mm-hmm. But if you were too like good, like the bad guy was come after you or whatever, like the bounty hunters or whatever.
Yeah, those random things that'll pop in when you fast travel.
Yeah, like shit like that, and the shit like that needs to be more interactive. They had a good thing going, but they need to have more interaction with the different factions and et cetera, of course. And I mean, I'm a sucker for not necessarily gory, but dark shit, like the dark shit you saw in Fallout 3, where like because it's post-apocalyptic and you know how corrupt the government was, et cetera, there was like Vault 104 that had that high pitch noise that drove people crazy, or it was the other vault that was doing like experiments to get people to do this and blah 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 blah. Like as long as they kind of keep those dark post-apocalyptic undertones and keep a good story, I am fucking well for it. As long as they can make it an amazing RPG mechanic, I will be fucking great. And if they don't, the modders will. Simple as that.
No, that's true. My biggest thing with Fallout is I want them to make cause and effect matter. One thing I got tired of seeing, there was actually two things. One, the game, to me, once you reach a certain level, the game went easy mode.
Yeah.
Like it stopped being difficult after a certain point. I want them to fix that. I don't know how they can fix it, but I want them to fix that. I don't want to play until level 18 and then feel like I can do everything in the game. Mm-hmm. And two, I want to make cause and effect matter. If I go around and massacre an entire town, I want to have all the other towns don't want to invite me in because I killed off Megaton or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, instead of, let's say, waiting a couple days and then just walk right back into town like nothing ever happened. It's like, no, don't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they need to make the decisions, especially like the big like massacre decisions, matter more, because it's as cool as it was going through as the good guy. It was a whole lot much more fun when you did blow up Megaton, and you did have the option of doing this and doing that and blah 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 blah, and adopting cannibalism. That shit was great.
Yeah, but it didn't affect. It didn't affect anything gameplay wise.
It didn't affect anything gameplay wise. They needed, as long as they have something where I know they did it a little bit in Skyrim, where if you were with one faction, the other faction couldn't stand your fucking guts. But as they didn't even implement that more, where it's like, hey, you kind of blew up Megaton, so if you try to go, what was that submarine or the ship submarine place?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the one ship that was down by DC.
Yeah. That if you blew up Megaton and they heard that you blew up Megaton and you went up to the door, they could be like, hey, you step over here, nigga, we will blast your ass. You know what I'm saying? You cannot come over here. You have to do something really deep to redeem yourself. Like if you make a decision like that, you have to do something massive. Like from that point on, you should only be able to get your items from like those traveling shops. You know what I'm saying? Like you can no longer go inside of a town and get your shit. You have to go to like a traveling shop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they should do it like I don't know if you've ever played it, Ryzoe, but have you ever played like any of the Elder Scrolls games?
I played Skyrim. That was the last one I played. Because
I know in Oblivion, you had like certain guilds that would give you quests, and if you did like the guild wrong, let's say like, what do you call the apothecary stuff? We pick flowers and ground them up. I remember
alchemy. Right.
Yeah, like if you did like the alchemy guild wrong or something, you had to go pick like 50 of these stupid flowers that took you forever to do. Like they should make it something where it's like, if you do something wrong like that, then you have to spend like a 4 to 6 hour quest in doing something just to get people to trust you again.
Yeah, yeah. And also, like, another thing that I think would be cool is kind of like the slaver mechanic they had in Fallout 3. When, you know, you did go around and collar people, then bring them over there. I think unless you wear a mask, niggas should be really iffy around. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if you wear a mask and you, of course, you get somebody or collar somebody to be your slave, you wore a mask. Nobody knows, you know, you were the motherfucker that did it. But if you go around, like, unmasked, collaring motherfuckers, everybody should have, like, even though you might have, you know, high speech and, you know, be able to convince somebody and say what the fuck you want to say, they still should be like, hey, I did already see your face kidnap, like, 10 people down the street.
No, they should do it like Fallout 2. When you became a slave in Fallout 2, you got like a tattoo branded on your forehead.
Yeah.
So everybody knew that you were a slave when you talked to them, and certain people just didn't talk to you because they didn't fuck with slavers.
Yeah, yeah, that's better.
But like I said, it's more that cause and effect. I mean, none of it really mattered. That, you were always the good guy to everybody you met for the most part.
Yeah.
So now that we're boring Jolly as of somebody who didn't play Fallout. What do you think?
I wasn't bored. I was just listening. Specifically about the trailer, I looked at the trailer. I didn't really see anything that kind of excited me. So I just kind of read the comments. And some of the comments were saying that they actually recycled some of that same animation from previous games. So it's like, if that's true, you kind of just cheated a lot of people and just like gave a big fuck you finger to a lot of fans. Because they did the exact same thing in Call of Duty, Ghost?
With Modern Warfare,
Dog.
Yeah, that was straight ripped, though.
Here's the thing. Here's one thing that, like, everybody wants to, like, nobody really wants to acknowledge. Is, like, as much as we loved everything about Mass Effect, people were still doing the same animations in Mass Effect 3 as they were doing in Mass Effect 1. And this is like, what, 6-8 years apart in video games, maybe more? You know what I'm saying? And they're still doing, like, the same animations, like that many games apart. So I don't necessarily mind there being some of the same animations, as long as they've improved. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you can use the same, like, head nod, fucking twirl or whatever, but if you give me, like, some fucking hair flowy between that hair nod and twirl, I'm Gucci with that.
Like,
show me
Commander Shepard did used to do that a hell of a lot.
Yeah. But, like, show me that you actually are looking to make a better game and not, like, because, I mean, if you want to get mad at anybody, you should get mad at Mass Effect, because straight up, they use these same animations from the first game on the third game. It's like a damn near a decade apart. Like, they should have fucking started from the ground up, but they never did. So we can't get mad at Fallout too much for it if they do it, but at the same time, I surely do hope that they've made some improvements.
I mean, I look at it like this way. This is Bethesda. You know they're going to reuse half of their game engine in this new Fallout game. That's one of the things. I mean, that's what they do. I can go back and play Skyrim and then go back and play, like, Morrowind, and some of the stuff will still be the same. I'll go back and play Oblivion and still see people move the same way. That's just what they do.
It seems like Bethesda puts out games ever so often, but they're always, like, really great games.
Bethesda is
like... But how do they have the money... I don't think they have the money and the resources to have a better game engine or even get animators to animate different,
like they might not. They might not, because I think they put out a game. I want to say it's like every 5 years.
Yeah.
Like it'll be Fallout, and then a couple years will go by, and then it'll be like an Elder Scrolls game, couple more years go by, it'll be like the next one in their series. Yeah. So they don't put games out like every 2 years, you know, when it comes to sequels, like everything else.
See, but this is like the Rockstar of the PC world. It's pretty much what it is. You know, Rockstar is not going to release a GTA or a Red Dead every fucking year now. Like, they barely even put out games at all, you know, anymore. Like, it used to be every other year we'd get, like, you know, Bully or Red Dead or
now it's just GTA.
Now it's just GTA. Like, we know we're getting another Red Dead Redemption, but we don't know when the fuck's that's coming. You know what I'm saying? So
E3 prediction. I'm just kidding.
If they announce that shit, my panties are coming off. Anyway. So Bethesda's like the PC world for Rockstar. So if Bethesda could just give me a good, high quality game that still appeals to that same crowd, where the modders can do whatever they want to, and that may be why they kind of still do have those same animations, because they come out and be like, hey, here is our entire engine. Here's our animations. Here's these and these and these. Blah, 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 blah. Here's the entire engine. We give it to you for Fallout 4. And y'all can do whatever the fuck y'all want to. Y'all can make this game last a goddamn lifetime if you want to.
Yeah, they're open to an improvement. That's the same thing that they did with Skyrim. Like when the game comes out, it'll be okay. It'll be a little bit better than average.
Yeah. But
then they'll just be like, you want to mod the game? Oh yeah, you know, here are the tools to do it. We don't care. Yeah. Make the game look as good as you can.
That's kind of what Bethesda does.
And all of their games have been like that ever since Morrowind and earlier.
Yeah. So as long as they kind of keep to that same theme of what they do, it's still going to be a great game, no matter what. Like, people can complain about it, et cetera, so they can get mad at the graphics and shit. But I mean,
people still going to buy it. It's still going to sell millions of copies.
Yeah.
And you know the gaming. You know, I guarantee you, when that game comes out, it's going to be like when Skyrim came out, when people going to stop. You know, they're going to be on Facebook. I can't go to work because I'm sick or whatever. Taking off, and girlfriend's gonna be mad at all of their guys because they all gonna be playing the damn game.
I mean,
really, the game is that popular.
Oh yeah, the game is that popular. And here's the thing: people are still fucking playing Skyrim. People are
still playing Skyrim and modding the hell out of it to make
modding the fuck out of it. Like, there's this. And here's how deep it's been. I think the dude who does Skyrim mods weekly is up to 180 episodes. All right. And he releases a mod video just about every fucking week. This is week after week of people working on the game. He's still doing it. Like, I think it's 180, like last I checked, or 181, somewhere around there. But he still does an episode weekly for strictly mods. People still play the game. People still play these mods. Every time they go on the fucking Nexus mod and there's new mods, people download them and play these games. And this game,
I was on there 2 days ago.
When did Skyrim come out?
2010, something like that. It was a while ago. Yeah.
So it's basically like Minecraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with the modding community, not like the.
Yeah, they'll just keep at it and improve it, add stuff to it. The modding community has done so much with the Elder Scrolls games and even with Fallout games. They've modded them so much they can build a whole nother game just by itself. They will take everything about the game, AI, scripting, graphics, textures. They will add in, like, let's say, like, if you have, like, a regular assault rifle in the game, right? It'll look like how they made it look. But they'll change it up to where now it looks like an M4 or an M16. Like, and they'll change, like, they'll add modern day stuff and stuff that we have in the real world in the game because people like playing with that kind of sort of stuff.
The last time I checked, I think it was like a month or two ago too. It had gotten to the point where if you were to take the base of Skyrim out of Skyrim, you would still have Skyrim just from the mod community. Actually, I think it was like 2 times. So technically, like with the entire map and everything modders have added to it, you would have 3 times the Skyrim map on that motherfucker because of all the mods and all the additions, all the new fucking spells, all the weapons. All the caves people have added, all people like have traveled. People put like Morrowind back in the game and shit. Like, and you can go revisit this and this and this and blah blah blah. Like, you can do whatever.
It'll be a whole like a whole different game. Mm-hmm. You can go back and play a heavily modified version of, let's say, Fallout or Skyrim, and then go back and play like the original version that came out with no mods, and you wouldn't believe it if you never played it first. That's how different they look. So where you can have like naked women running around and do whatever you want.
That's like the first thing. That's the first thing that comes out for Bethesda game is a nude mod, where they kind of make it. It's not even like the fact that they've modded it where it's like, you know, just because we want to see nudity. But if you strip a person, of course you're gonna strip them of everything. So you can just leave naked bodies in the fucking streets. That's exactly what Bethesda people do.
So Fallout, it's an RPG?
Yeah. Have you played Skyrim at all?
I've seen gameplay of Skyrim, but I have not played Skyrim.
It's Skyrim with guns.
It's basically the same kind of sort of game, but instead of magic and medieval swords and shields, you got guns, nukes, and that whole post-apocalyptic 50s, oh, we're afraid the world is going to get nuked mentality. Oh. They basically took that, and then it happened. And then that's the world you're stuck in.
Oh, with the monsters and fucking...
Well, you got mutated animals like giant cockroaches, death claws. So you have a lot of mutated creatures from the radiation that's been going on for like 200 years.
Oh, yeah. the creepiest sound from Fallout 3 is this one little town where there's this colony of ants that have taken over this motherfucker. And if you have like surround sound headphones, you constantly hear the skittering of ants. It's so bad for your fucking demeanor. Like, I was paranoid. Like you pretty much anytime you like go into a cave, you're like it gets bad, bro.
Yeah, normally when it comes to Fallout, and let's say an Elder Scrolls game, there's a bunch of people out there who don't like the swords and shields and the fantasy thing, but then they'll play the Fallout games because that don't have none of that. So it's really the same style of game, just, you know, it's like they're pandering to both their audiences.
So here's the thing: which would you rather have? Which would you rather have, Fallout 4 or The Division, since that's supposed to be an RPG too?
Fallout.
Really?
I can say that with certain. The Division, I don't think it's going to be an RPG. I think it's going to be like a hybrid third-person shooter with RPG elements, whereas Fallout is going to be strictly an RPG. I can play Fallout for 300 hours. The Division that's probably just going to be a multiplayer shooter where you can level up certain things and improve your character. So,
the only thing, I would go with Fallout 4 too, because the only thing I'm scared about Division with is Ubisoft hasn't really
said anything about it, and they keep pushing it back.
They keep pushing back. They haven't said anything about it, and like, I was so excited for this generation of RPG games, you know what I'm saying, coming to consoles and shit like that, where it seems like you're going to be able to play this game for a very long time and not have to worry. Like, I was excited with what was that game, the car game that was kind of like that, where you can just race around the world and race different people. The Crew. I was excited with The Crew about it. The Division I was excited about, and of course Destiny. But it's also Destiny that has let me down the most with it, because Destiny did kind of lead this whole console RPG generation, and they didn't do a good job at it. Now, I'm not saying Destiny is a bad game, but it's a bad RPG.
It's a bad game.
It's a bad RPG.
I'm straight up saying. That game insults me. As a game.
That game is a direct insult to me. Like, I thought it was an alright game. I'm not gonna say it was a good game. It was an alright game, but the RPG element was terrible. It was terrible. And
yeah, there was. What RPG element? You mean none? The only RPG element you had in that game was, let me change out my armor and guns. That's the only RPG element you had.
True that. It was a terrible whatever RPG element it thought it was adding. It was fucking terrible. So now, when it comes to the Division, as much as I want to say, hey, this might be like the Fallout 4 consoles, if it goes the direction of the Destiny, where you do only have certain customizations items, and like the whole online RPG element isn't even that long, it's going to go the way of Destiny, where it's just a game, where of course you're going to have your hardcore players for it, but it ain't going to be that big.
Well, they did say, they kind of showed it off a little bit, where you can actually change up like your gear, like the clothes that you was wearing.
Yeah.
And everything did certain certain things. Plus, they had the whole, like, you group up with people. You can have your own hideout. You can customize this hideout, this, like this central hub location where you gotta stay. You group up and you can go out into the world and interact with other people. Maybe even steal some items from other people to bring back to your own place or to use into your own group. And you kind of like hit the nail on the hammer when you said, Denonu, where it's RPG.
Third-person shooter with RPG elements.
Yeah, but it's kind of like the other way around. They said it's an RPG with third-person shooter elements. So it's like, it's third-person shooter, but you still, the main focus is the RPG aspect.
Well, and here's the thing with that, like, the one thing that Destiny, well, Destiny did a lot of things terrible, but the one thing they didn't ever capitalize on the fact that, like, because this is a very group-based game, right? You don't want... I think if you're going to have a group-based RPG, you have to look at, like, your WoWs and your fucking Terras and all these other games that have been going, like, are known for being, like, our online RPGs where, yeah, they're group-based RPGs, but even with a group of 5, you're still going to play this game for about 3 or 4 months before you even look at what the last boss looks like. And you're only going to get a glimpse, and you got to play it 2, 3 more months before you're even strong enough to fight this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know how they're going to put that into the vision, considering, like, you do, yes, you have guns and shit like that, but it needs to be a slow-paced game, where maybe the first month you are just, like, horrible at surviving. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have your pistols and you have your little bit of gear, but you don't really get amped up with basic skills till about a month, 2 months, 3 months into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they gotta make it like that, because if they go about the way of Destiny, like I said, it's gonna be another Destiny, where it only lasts for about a month and people are fucking done.
I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm purely a console player because, I don't have the PC capabilities to run games like that for too long. I don't think console players are used to having a game that is that long. You know what I mean? Like, even like when The Witcher came out, I'm playing The Witcher, right? And the length of this game, and plus, like, with the shit that I like to do, I like how The Witcher introduced all these, like, little extra side missions and side quests and little extra things to go find. They introduced it way better than Assassin's Creed. Because in Assassin's Creed, all these little extra shits is like, they don't feel useful to me at all. But in The Witcher, it's like everything's useful by helping you develop your character. Now, I'm not used to that shit. You know what I mean? I'm used to getting a game, maybe playing it for like 8 or 9 hours, beating the game, and then going to trade it in. I'm not used to having games stack up on me, because it takes like fucking 40 plus hours to get through the whole fucking game. You know what I mean? Plus extra hours to do like 100%, playthrough. And I think I'm like most console players that I just don't have the patience to play a game and grind at a game for hours and hours on end just to, get to a point where I actually need other people to be in my party to help me beat this person or beat this boss or something like that. Like, console players are just not used to that kind of genre of games.
Of course, like that, it never actually has to come to that. There's a lot of people who do play RPGs solely by themselves. Like, there's a lot of the lone wolves in online RPGs. You know what I'm saying? And you got to cater to that audience as well. Well, like, yeah, you do have the social gamers who got, him and 2 of his buddies who play just about every damn game together, and they should be able, like, the person who likes to do the lone wolf thing and the people who like the Roman 3. Should have, like, this. They should at least have the options of beating the game around the same time, right? There shouldn't be anything to hold this dude back, and there shouldn't be anything to hold this group back. You know what I'm saying? And it's really just catering to that, where, like, the lone wolf might have to, like, at best, the lone wolf has to, like, sit around and wait for maybe another person to show up to this mission before, like, he's done this mission and failed it, like, twice, right? And he might have to wait for somebody to come and help him. And that's it. Like, that's all the real help he needs.
Well, I think they should do it just like how, like, most of the MMOs do it, where you have, like, you can play this mission by yourself, but we recommend 2, maybe 3 people. And if you don't have a group, instead of doing it, let's say like how Destiny did it, where guess what? You can't do the fucking raid unless you have a group of people. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have friends on your friends list, or you're not that kind of person to go out and make friends randomly, then you can't play it. I mean, they should have a system in place where you can just be like, hey, look, I'm looking for a group to do this thing. Anybody want to help me with it real quick? And then other people could just automatically join in, or even have matchmaking that just feeds into that, to where you have 3 people to tackle whatever the mission is or whatever. My thing with the Division is like what Jolly said, and I told you the exact same thing before Witcher came out. And I was like, this game is going to have tons of content. People are going to buy it. They're going to play it, but they're going to put it down because it's not the kind of game that they're used to, especially on consoles. I mean, I think people our generation who actually remember playing, let's say, 80-hour Final Fantasy games back in the day, they won't have no problem with the games. But there's a whole 2 or 3 generations that grew up with the 360 that are just like you said, where they just don't know how to take a game of that kind of depth. And with the Division, just to tie it all back into that, because that's what we're talking about, I just hope that they make a decent enough game to actually put that out there. Because with the way that they keep pushing the game back, they're not saying nothing about it. They're not getting nobody hyped about it. It's just like, as a hardcore gamer, I'm looking at that and be like, okay, I'm reading the signs. I'm worried about the game now. Mm-hmm. Maybe they don't have enough confidence in their game to actually make it how they should make it. And then they're going to put out like a half-assed game. And that's not what I want, but that's what I'm leaning towards, because otherwise they would say, oh, like, yeah, we're adding this in the game. We're doing this. We got this trailer come out there, but they're not saying nothing about it. And that scares me about it.
Well, going off of what they did to Assassin's Creed, it's kind of like, you know, you got a new IP coming out, but look what you did to your original IP that already had a good standing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like,
well, I mean, they also fucked that shit up with Watch Dogs too. So
it is true.
Like they've already, like, they pretty much their last 2 games released have been fuck ups. Like they better do something with fucking what is it? What does it do? Come out the
Rainbow Six.
Yeah, well, Rainbow Six is Ubisoft.
I don't think it's Ubisoft, but I think it has something with Siege in the title, so that's what I thought you was talking
about. I was talking about
thing.
the new Assassin's Creed game that they're working on.
Oh, Assassin's Creed Liberty,
whatever,
or to London, some shit.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, they just got to come to the plate and actually knock out a home run. Like their next Assassin's Creed game, that shit better be perfect,
like
with no problems.
The thing is, like, when it comes to Assassin's Creed games, like, I don't understand why they're not, like, capitalizing on this generation of parkour lovers. You know what I'm saying? Like, parkour is a thing now. Like, everybody knows what the fuck parkour is. Everybody sees what parkour is. And with Unity, they did try. They did try.
That was, like, their main thing on Unity. They even got parkour actual people from Paris.
But they still fucked up the mechanics. Like, the fact that, with the addition to the fact that you can now, like, parkour in a downward direction, like in a descending direction, made it cool. The fact that shit was not, like, fluent.
Well, the problem with that is like, you have a game that's damn near like an Elder Scrolls game or a Skyrim game, where it's like big as fuck. And you have that whole world to have to try to do, and then you only got a year to make it? I mean, that game should have had another year on top of it to iron out all the bugs, the glitches with the engine, all of that stuff, kind of sort of stuff. But they can't do that when you make a game in a year.
Actually,
that's the problem.
I think it's more because the game isn't revolving around parkour. Because the game itself, you have the story, you have the fighting, you have all this other shit, and parkour is just one small part of this whole big Assassin's Creed picture. Now, when you look at Mirror's Edge, on the other hand, that was a game that revolved around parkour. You know what I mean? Like they only made that game because of the camera movement and the parkour.
And the running,
that was it. So, like, they focused on that more so than anything else. Because I played a little bit of it. I don't even remember the fucking story, other than, like, she was like a
well, that's the thing. The game didn't have it. Like, the game didn't have anything else. I mean, you had running, jumping, and you had gunplay in there, but it was shitty as hell. But that was it. That was the whole game. The game didn't have anything else.
Yeah, it was as much as an amazing parkour mechanically based game as it was, like, it didn't really have a lot of high replay value. You know what I'm saying? Like, at that point when because back when Mirror's Edge came out, I was the hardcore gamer who would beat the game on medium, and then go back immediately and put the game on expert or hard or whatever the fuck I could. And I did that to
to tons and tons of fucking games. But when it came to Mirror's Edge, I beat it on medium, tried to go back and beat it on hard, really couldn't, and then just went to time trials whenever I played it. Never played the story ever again, just went to time trials. You know what I'm saying? Like, as much as I want, and that was specifically because I loved the
running and jumping was so damn good.
The parkour mechanic of it. Everything else wasn't that great.
Yeah.
Now, see, if they would have turned that kind of game into, like, a third-person game, you know, that would... I mean, not third-person, you know, version of Assassin's Creed, that's kind of like the parkour you would be looking for, if you think about it. Mirror's Edge was first-person.
Yeah. And this is pretty much what I'm gonna like just end my shit on, because this is something that I really thought was gonna change the game and never fucking did. Like, nobody ever took notes from this game. But if you take a trip back into the time machine with me, there was this game. Jet Li's
What are you doing? Wait, what are
I'm
you
doing?
doing?
A little wave. Yeah, doodle. Okay, so you remember that Jet Li game, right?
The one? No. Honor something.
Yeah, like the Jet Li video game.
Rise to Honor. That shit.
Rise to
Honor.
Honor.
That shit was fucking fun.
If you ever played that game, you, for some reason, I had the mindset that like combat from that point on was going to be different, because that game had a very amazing fluid sense of combat where if you were fighting 8 people, you felt like you were fighting 8 people, and you could dodge attacks like you were fighting 8 people with that joystick.
I love those joysticks, man. That shit was so
like,
awesome.
You would, like, if a dude threw a kick and you dodged it, you could dodge and counter and do all this shit. Like, ever since that game came out, I've had this high expectations of, like, melee combat in video games. And nobody has even, like, touched that. Ever.
Shoot, I can name another game that was just like that. What was the one Matrix game that came out?
Yes.
Yeah, the Matrix game wasn't that great of a game, but the fighting mechanics were fucking beautiful on it, and nobody's really
with Jada Smith in it, and the Asian dude.
You remember when you can like go into like the fighting room and like have like the little dojo and everything and fighting that bitch? That was so much fun.
And this is what I'm saying. Like when it comes to these games, like the parkour game and shit like that, and Assassin's Creed, where everything should be fluent right now. Like, it shouldn't be, like, that whole, like... To me, the Arkham Knight games have been kind of stiff. You know what I'm saying? When you do the counterattack, they're really stiff when it comes to their counters. And it's really sudden. Yeah, it's really sudden and simple and stiff. And I don't really like it. But the fact that we had 2 games back then that were really fluent in their fighting, and nobody has really even looked towards that. Like, that's one thing you can do. I'm not even sure if you... Did you ever play the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon game?
I didn't even know they had a game.
I've seen it, but I never played it.
Yeah, in that game, like the fighting was pretty much done with the joystick, and if you timed an attack with your R button, which was your block / your dodge button, if you could time your R1 button at the time of the attacks, you would fluently dodge every attack, right? And if you could counter your R1 with a nice punch or a kick, you could fluently dodge with a nice counter attack. And the computer could do that right back to you if it was a boss. So you and the fucking boss could go back and forth with dodge and attacks. It's like a kung fu movie. Like a fluid fucking kung fu movie. And you are in a video game. And it seems like you're watching a movie choreography. You know what I'm saying? Like a movie fighting choreography. And nobody has done these things. Nobody has touched this shit yet. And that's one thing that's made me mad about all these video games so far. And people need to start working on that more. And that's pretty much done with DJ tonight.
Here's the thing. With those games, they were only made by certain developers that didn't stick around. So during this generation, the only developer that really kind of made sense of their the fighting style was the whole, WB Interactive or Entertainment or whatever the fuck they're called. When they made, not WB, Rocksteady. When they did the whole fighting mechanics in the Arkham series. That's kind of like the closest you're going to get to just constant flow combat. That and Knack. But Knack was such a shitty fucking game, and I fucking hated that.
Yeah, but normally what they did with Batman, they didn't invent that. They just improved upon it.
Well, yeah, no, they didn't invent it, but it's more so like the standard now when it comes to that. You know what I mean? So, it's there, but it's not that many developers that take the time to think about combat that way.
Well, I think the problem is, maybe they do. The problem is, it's kind of like a catch-22. where you have to put out a game, and if you did have a well in-depth combat system, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be harder to master. So people who they want to get new gamers and casual gamers to pick up and play the game and actually enjoy it and actually keep on playing it. If you make something too hard or make something too difficult, they're going to put it down and stop playing it.
That's
and
true.
I think a lot of game developers now, they're stuck, you know, or at least with the 360, they came in and then that's been the standard for like 10 years. And they're not, you know, ain't nobody trying to rock the boat and actually make something that's innovative, you know? And that's what I think with a lot of games now, or at least it's starting to trickle in, where games now are only going to be on next gen or current gen now, and they're not making them for like for the 360 or for the PlayStation 3 no more. Take Fallout 4 for instance, that's one, and the newer Call of Duty is doing the same thing. Games are now just starting to only be on next gen. What the one thing I'm hoping for is that developers actually can take that extra performance and actually do something innovative to make games better. Because you can only do so much on the 360 and everything, you know, given all the graphics and based on how shitty the performance and shit was on it. So
the one thing I'm tired of in this generation, I think this generation needs to go ahead and change as far as video games goes. I'm tired of fucking like the same fucking knife punch buttons. That's one thing that those games did right, and it's not really that hard to add the fact that like your joystick controls most of your combat. And R1, you hold R1 with your joystick, it adds a little bit more to your combat. Like, that leaves square, triangle, X, A, B, whatever, that leaves that all open for other things. While, yes, your control stick does control all of your combat. You know what I'm saying? Instead of your control, like, pressing in your control stick, only doing one thing.
I mean, I look at it like this way. Isn't that the way Fight Night does it?
Yeah.
That's
the
all their games. I mean,
and that made it fluent, too. Like,
there's no more Fight Night, though.
Yeah, but it was really fluent.
No, that's true. That's true. I think it's more so because people, all these different gaming companies are trying to cater their games to everybody. So if you're used to playing a certain game, they don't want to come out. Well, they're too afraid to come out with something that's different, because if it's too different, they'll think you don't want to play it. Yeah. So like that's just the same reason why I think that they when they did that what's that new Lord of the Rings game that came out that's not supposed to be called Lord of the Rings.
Oh, you mean the one that wasn't Assassin's Creed?
Yeah. Yeah, like
Shadow of Mordor.
They pretty much took Shadow of Mordor, right? They made this game that, okay, they took elements from Assassin's Creed, a game that was big when that came out, and they took like fighting mechanics from Batman, another game that was big when that came out. And then they figured like, hey, if you like Assassin's Creed, if you like, Batman's fighting mechanics, if you like the Lord of the Rings series, don't think about this as Lord of the Rings, but think of it in that world, in that context, then you're going to like this game. Now, what if they actually put in mechanics that were more fluid, than anything else, but the controls were different than you've ever played with. It's more so like an old Jet Li game or something like that, where you're using the sticks or something like that instead of using the actual buttons. People are going to be feeling alienated.
It's going to turn a lot of people off.
Yeah, they're going to be like, I'm not used to this. Like, what kind of shit is this? Why would you, use the control sticks? How come I can't use the buttons?
Here's the thing. Here's how you would change that shit up. First of all, on the Shadow of Mordor thing, every motherfucking reviewer was talking shit about that goddamn game, and that goddamn game won Game of the Year just because it was a little bit different and added elements from two different games.
Yeah.
Second of all, if you give people something like if you introduce these people to a new mechanic, but you introduce these people to a new mechanic quickly and decently, like back then when we had the Jet Li game, the only flaws that I really had with it is like, I did press the joystick right, and I meant to throw a punch. I did not mean to throw that kick that hit that nigga in the left. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's not the nigga I was aiming for. But now we've got it where, your joystick is a little more responsive and it can read a little bit better. So you can create a lot of more fluent things. So if you brought that mechanic back and you introduced it in a good way, really fast, you know what I'm saying? Like from the get-go, you have your character fight like 5 people in a slow motion kind of thing where, this is how you do this. This is how you do this. This is how you do this. This is how you do this.
God of War does that really good.
Yeah. Like if you get that God of War introduction and put that with that new mechanic, I swear to God, people would not put that fucking game down. It would quickly catch on.
Yeah.
And by the time fucking level 2, they're like, and here's the thing, like by the time level 2 comes, you make them feel like a badass. You make them feel like they can wreck shop on any nigga. But as that game goes, you start.
You make a master of that combat system.
Yeah, like it's almost like kind of how like Ninja Gaiden went, where you didn't never throw the first attack at a certain point.
Man.
You had to block for at least a good 3 minutes.
Do you know, it took me so long to realize that. Like, I was sitting here playing Ninja Gaiden, I forgot which one, I think Ninja Gaiden Black. And I was like, am I dying in a fucking dream right now? Is this motherfucker literally having a flashback? And I am dying repeatedly against the first fucking ninja? Like, I was pissed until I realized, like, oh shit, I have to block and wait for him to put his sword down. I'm a ninja. I shouldn't have to think like a ninja. I should be flipping around.
Guess what? They're ninjas too. When those black ninjas jump down, they will whoop your ass. Yes. You had to be on your A game.
Like you need a new production studio who's gonna come out and make those games like this. Like, yeah, no, we're gonna make this new generation's game, and they're not the Call of Duties, they're not the Assassin's Creeds, they're not any of this shit. Like, we have our own mechanics, we have our own engine, and our games are going to make you think, and they're going to make you feel like a bitch before you get to the boss. Like, you're going to have to fucking go through hell to beat our games. And it's not necessarily going to be Ninja Gaiden difficult, but it is going to be pretty fucking difficult.
Yeah. I wish more developers would do that, but sadly in this day and age, everything is getting more and more casual. Like, there was a time when I looked at Call of Duty and was like, man, I don't think shooters can get any more casual than that. And then Destiny came out there, and it's just like, you know, it's like the game plays itself. It's like, I don't know, man.
Like, I'm tired of, like, and I think that's the one thing that's been turning me off of video games, is why I kind of stay with League more these days, because I'm tired of, like, getting a first-person shooter. And while, yeah, you know, I really love Battlefield Hardline more than I thought I would, it's still Battlefield, you know? And
it's nothing different than what you're already used to.
Yeah, I got enough fucking Battlefield 3 and 4 stories, like enough war stories from those two games, look at Hardline and be like, you know, I'm gonna have stories here, but they're gonna be around the same stories. Like, all I'm gonna do is catch a nigga with a bullet mid-motion, you know, get a lucky grenade. Like, it's not gonna be anything different. Whereas, one thing I would love to see Battlefield do is add more of like a Far Cry mechanic to this shit, where you can knife 12 niggas fluently. You can't.
What if they were all next to each other or something?
Yeah, like you can pull a grenade on somebody's waist belt and kick him into his group of people. Like, I'm tired of people just like, nobody's doing anything new. Like, you could look at another game, and that's all you gotta do. Look at another game who's around the same thing you are. Like I say, Battlefield needs to look at fucking Far Cry. Fallout needs to look at, you know, Far Cry as well and see what they can take from shit like that. Like, this is an open world first person kind of thing. You should still be able to implement not this thing repetitively, but you could add to your game to something like this.
Yeah, like, why can't in Fallout, why can't I go around hunting and skinning, what do they call those two-headed cows, and take rat scorpion hides or something like you did in, you know, in Far Cry with like the hunting mechanic.
Yeah.
Add something like that where you can craft your own armor based on how the stuff you kill.
Sorry,
you know?
did you say rat scorpion?
Rad scorpion.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought it was like a rat and a scorpion at the same time. I was like, that's...
Nah, basically...
It's a radiation scorpion.
Yeah, take like a big-ass German Shepherd, now make him a scorpion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you'd be scared of the raid roaches in that bitch. The raid roaches are like fucking... Or the rad roaches are like, about
roaches
2 feet.
as big as people.
Yeah, about 2 feet.
Yeah, they're like dogs.
Nah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Fuck that game.
Did you hear that somebody like loved Fallout? Fallout so much that somebody got him like a rad roach side birthday cake. It literally looked like a real roach. That shit was boss. Like, it took him a while to cut out that first piece because he was like, I don't know, it's gonna move, nigga. I feel like it's gonna move now.
Oh, it had wings and everything?
Yeah, like it looked like a real crawling roach, but it was just a cake.
That's disgusting, man. That's one of those things, like, when I cut into this thing, I better see cake. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like shit better not come out of this thing.
If this motherfucker,
juices better not come out.
If this motherfucker moves or squeals when I stab, dog, Nigga, we are done. I'm killing myself and everybody in this fucking room.
After I kill this roach, you gonna get it the
die.
exact same way. All right,
Anyway, that's it for me.
all right. Well, that's ending out on the actual topic that we started in on. So, if no one else has anything,
Nah, man, I'm good. We rambled on for like an hour and 40 minutes, so we're good.
yeah. So, this is your homie Jolly Dangerous, Jolly D, or just plain old Jolly. Denonu, Ryzoe.
And Haji.
Peace out, y'all. Oh, this week, we still have another E3 podcast we gotta do. We're gonna be talking about more games on that. We're also gonna be doing a E3 live stream when that comes out, so check that out. Hit the like if you like the video. Subscribe for more. Check out our channels, the Jolly Mage, Denonu, and Ryzoe.
I've been back on my grind lately, so you will see a bunch of videos up now.
Peace out, y'all.
Deuces.
Deuces.